This premium episode of Watch Out for Fireballs is brought to you by Jack, one of our patrons. If you would like to hear the whole thing, or support us, or get bonus episodes, or sponsor episodes, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Thank you. My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Darkest Dungeon, which is a strategy RPG developed and published by Red Hook Studios for PC and contemporary systems in 2016.
Yeah. And this is big thanks to Jack. Jack executive produced this. This is something I wanted to talk about for a very long time.
Yeah, this is you're real into this.
Oh boy. This is going to be the reverse. All the people who listen to Paradise Killer and were like, man, Cole's right. Gary's a fool. He doesn't like this. Are going to, now it's my turn. It's my turn. My turn.
It's not that I dislike this.
No, I know. But this is so absolutely and completely Gary Nip.
Yeah.
As do I was thinking about it, so I replayed this a while ago. I played through it many times. Did a let's play. You can find it on YouTube. It got me to like do video shit. Video games don't do that.
Yeah.
Just this and Dark Souls. And then I was thinking about it, and this is, I'm not expecting you to agree with this or anyone really to agree with this. This is definitely in my like top 5 or 10 shit we've done for the show.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite video games. I am exceedingly into this.
Yeah. I can definitely see and understand that. I am more in the position where I admire this, but this is not my flavor of stressful.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how much active stress you feel playing it.
Yes.
And I've to the point now where this is relaxing to me. Because of brains.
Yeah, and Frostpunk is relaxing to me. It's just it's all different stuff.
Yeah, I think that probably the closer version of something, because I like Frostpunk actually quite a bit. A closer version might be this War of Mine.
Yeah,
which I like a lot, but I get the sense you like more than I do.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that game quite a bit.
Yeah. This is our premium episode, which means everyone's going to get the generalities. Everyone else is going to get the story. And this is also something where, and this was a caveat that we gave to Jack, where like I have put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this. Cole gets it.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting your bona fides at all. But there's, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a guidance episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got one coming up later on that will be kind of the other way around too.
Absolutely, will be.
Yeah. Just to dally and being a coy boy again. But yeah, this will be kind of something where Gary's going to take the lead a little bit, especially with like insights about ways that the systems interact, because this game, I don't want to say it's nothing but systems, because there's actually cool narrative and aesthetic stuff going on here. Yeah, extremely well flavored. But it is real systems forward. And
it's not a narrative game. It's tone, flavor, and mechanics.
Yes.
That suggest a narrative without being too explicit about it at very many points.
Yeah. So another caveat on this is that we are talking about the base game here. We're not going to be talking about locations or encounters that are specific to either expansion, the Crimson Court or Color of Madness. There'll be a section where we can talk about those, but that including those, like, I don't know that it would be necessarily too much content based on what I've seen scanning over stuff, but enabling those, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, is that having those active would make it way too hard for somebody who's never played it before.
The Crimson Court, they're both end game content.
Yeah.
And the Crimson Court is like a wash over the campaign that adds an extra thing to manage that's difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I will be spoiling what that is. Like, I want to say what is in the DLCs, but we're not going to like describe the bosses or anything.
Yeah.
The Crimson Court specifically ends up being pretty important to the lore and backstory.
It's like Origins, right?
Yeah. Like kind of how the ancestor got his origins, and then the Color of Madness DLC kind of explains why you are, spoiler, there'll be spoilers for what plot there is in this game, kind of explains why you're stuck in a time loop.
Yeah.
Why, you know, the hamlet itself is this kind of weird other world where people keep arriving.
But nobody leaves except to die.
Yeah, just to die. Like it being this kind of like churn. You know, where you can repeat dungeons, bosses come back to life, things like that.
Yeah.
Is kind of explained through the Color of Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, this is a roguelike game. So we're going to kind of defer to the roguelike structure, kind of the way we have dealt with things for, let's say Monster Train and Enter the Gungeon, primarily before this.
Yeah. In this game, you are a character. You play as an heir to the estate that is run by a character known as the Ancestor. And the estate is on top of this horrible Eldritch dungeon, and it has corrupted the surrounding countryside, and the surrounding countryside has corrupted it.
Yes.
So you are the heir. You manage the hamlet, your estate, and you send expeditions into these different areas, these different kind of occupied lands, gaining strength and resources to end up conquering the darkest dungeon, and hopefully seal away that evil forever.
Hopefully.
So you can see the tower on the distance. It's about gaining the strength to get there.
Yes. And you foolishly can go there at any time, I believe, right? You can really screw yourself if you want to.
People have done it. I was looking online and watching a video of level 1 Darkest Dungeon.
Oh God,
play, which blows my mind. I have no idea how you do that. I like this game and I'm pretty good at it. I'm not to that degree.
Yeah, there's always going to be a Lobos. Yeah.
There's always a Lobos. There's always a Lobos tower. So let's get into it. Talking about the loop, we're going to talk about things like the actual loop and systems in this first half. And then talk about the classes, areas, and bosses in the second half. So as a reminder, everybody gets the first half, patrons get the second half.
Yeah, this will be a good one for public listeners. The ratio might be a little bit skewed this time.
Yeah,
because there's just a lot of generalities. Like we said, this is an incredibly systems forward game, and because it is on this loop, it's difficult to decide where to start talking about it. But I think that the kind of where you spend the most time is in these expeditions. So I think it makes sense to start there and then start there and with the combat and then kind of zoom out for the meta. Does that make sense to you? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you go on these different expeditions that take a week's worth of time in the game by assembling a group of 4 of your heroes. They all have kind of a dark edge to them. They're a little bit of a cosmic, definitely some Michael Mann in there. And you're mixing and matching classes. And then you choose one of these locations. There are 4 in the base game. And the missions have different kind of properties. So they'll either be at different length, they'll have different objectives, they'll have different difficulty levels.
Yes. Yeah, and by objectives, it's like, explore all, 90% of the rooms here, finish all of the combat encounters in rooms, take this item to a particular, altar within this. Yeah.
These can have different effects as well.
Yeah.
The typical explore and slay ones usually don't, but there'll be special events. Like if you have to bring an item to an altar, that will give you a bonus next time you go to that dungeon, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But you pick your mission based on those things and also by the reward that it promises. That is all kind of randomized, especially the piece of gear, the trinket that you get. But when you make this decision and choose your party, you provision with food, torches, and items that will help you deal with obstacles and status effects, and then you embark.
Yes. And then when you get in the dungeon, the entire game takes place from the side view. You have your 4 heroes progressing down the hallway in a marching order that you determine, very D&D.
Yes.
This entire thing, like tanks up front, squish your units in back. There are a lot of considerations with moving units. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Eventually, but in a general sense, you're setting these up like D&D parties.
Yeah. In a way, this feels more D&D than like, if something that would try to more directly, let's say, more directly mimic the graph paper format. Like, if this was tile-based, like they initially planned for it to be, that would start edging into feeling like a tactics game to me, right? Boiling it down to kind of like this consideration feels way more like any D&D campaign that I've ever played.
Well, it is still... There's so much tactical consideration to this.
Yes.
Way more than most video games I've played. And even positioning, they just simplify it. Like, it is a small numbers tactics RPG with small numbers on every scope. So like your actual damage number, HP numbers, and things like that are small. So are the position possibilities. It reminds me of like those apps that are like chess puzzles with little, 4x4 chess grids.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like there's a constrained space to the positioning that did feel like any theater of the mind D&D that I've ever done, without actually having the grid. The dungeons are procedurally generated. So a series of rooms connected by hallways. And when you're in one of the rooms, you choose which direction you want to go into from there. When you enter a room, you get a chance to scout. Scouting is very important. It's a stat that your characters have. This will show you traps, enemy encounters on the map. It can reveal secret rooms, which are huge. Scouting is very good.
Yeah.
And inside rooms, you'll sometimes encounter items and special things, but and also in the hallways, you will encounter combat here as well. Monsters.
Yeah. A lot of combat. To the point where like, there are, well, it's not random because you can scout them out and see, but if a scout fails, I'm pretty much always on edge when I'm walking on some of this because I don't know when something's going to come up and get me, Yeah.
Certainly an intended part of the tone.
Yes.
Is that you will get ambushed. That's different than the actual ambush mechanics, which we'll talk about. So moving into combat, we are not going to be able to fully cover combat in this because the combat is really crunchy and complicated. The game is unapologetically complicated.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the individual classes and things that influence this, but for now, we're just going to do generalities for that.
Yeah. And as part of the generalities and as part of that complication, I feel like as somebody who kind of went through this process, like back when Darkest Dungeon first came out and everybody was talking it up, I was obviously people that I know and like were really talking this up and saying like, yeah, Gary, I've made so many runs at trying to get into this.
Yeah.
Many runs. And something that really got in the way was this complexity, and also the way that information is kind of presented. You're really dealing with a lot of interface. It's a lot of interface. I don't even want to say like a lot of interface problems. There's a lot. Learning to read this game is definitely a part of it, and it's part of the onboarding. And it was kind of it was an ongoing process for me. Like I don't want to say how what level of dungeon I was going through before I realized what the little gold ticks next to the characters kind of like name and health bar represented. Like, oh, this character has an action left, right?
There's a lot of stuff like that it does not explain to you through like tooltips. It's stuff that's in the glossary of the game, but it kind of, we compare this to D&D. The way that I think it conveys information, the closest comparison is a board game.
Yeah.
like a modern board game. So there's a lot of like interface stuff where, you know, you'd expect to have, you know, there like a book that says like, you know, circles the little position and says, this is what this means here. And then also skills are like stat blocks. Like when you read a skill or something like that, it's telling you things like that in a way that feels exactly like it could just go on a board game card, you know, for something. So it definitely, the same way, like it is, to me, this is a game that does expect you to engage with it fully.
You have to meet it. Yeah.
You have to meet it. Like, it's not something where you have to be there for it. Like, you don't put it on and then just kind of vibe. Like, it's something where it's like, okay, like the game is giving me this little piece of information about this attack that I'm doing or this enemy. This is important.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite things about it, and this is going to be, you know, the dose makes the poison for a lot of people, but there's not superfluous information in Darkest Dungeon. Like, all of it matters.
Yeah.
Something that drives me nuts in video games is if I read something and there is no reason for me to read it, like it was neither entertaining nor educating.
Yeah.
And here the lore is all entertaining. Like I like all of the lore, and the every little bit of like stat block or whatever that you read, like you should read it. You know, it's not like I always think about Esper growths in Final Fantasy VI and how I don't pay attention to those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, you don't have to. It's not really how the game is made. Whereas this is something where, like, to get the most out of it, it wants you to do that.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they couldn't explain those ticks.
Right.
You know, like,
yeah.
Well, I don't think that would have been subtractive by any means. Like,
no, if there was just like an overlay, like it's weird to say, oh, Dark Souls got this right, because the interface in Dark Souls is kind of famously dog shit. But like being able to press select and just have anything on the specifically the menu screens explained to you is a real big is a real big thing. The glossary I found to be functionally useless because it was not arranged by like importance or by system. It was arranged alphabetically.
Yeah, you have to know what the thing is called.
Yeah, so like what I ran into, even in like, you know, checking the wiki, I played this on iPad, and I would use multitasking to hop over to a browser. You know, keeping an eye on spoilers, making sure like it's stuff that was supposed to surprise me would surprise me. But like what I found myself running into was like, I don't know what question to ask to get the answer that I need.
Yeah. It's something where it definitely benefits from having like a Sherpa.
Yeah.
You know, from it. Like between my first or my second and third run-ups at this or whatever, because we covered this for Comrade a long time ago when it was basically a pretty different game, early patches. I watched someone play it.
Yep.
And that made tons of stuff make sense to me. You know, and that's, I would never, as much as I'm just an absolutely unbelievably huge fan of this game, that's never something I would say that like the devs couldn't explain.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think that it's, you know, and it's hard to draw the line, right? So like something like those gold ticks, I want those to be there. But you know, if you look at the like a skill stat block, like that gives you the information you need.
It does.
You know, generally, like I think that stuff is very, very complete. It's not a perfect information strategy game like an Into the Breach, but it gives you more information. Typically,
it gives you a lot. Like it even shows like what the enemy's potential moves are. You know, like if you mouse over them and it shows their stats and stuff, like there's no special skill that you need in order to like understand how much HP is left or like what this thing's resistances are. Like everything is there for you to make the decisions that you need to make, trade-offs and all, you know. It's just that learning to read it's really the process of learning the game is learning to read this and kind of going from, you know, just barely treading water to like understanding the meat and potatoes parts of the classes to really understanding that this move that I thought was useful or was really niche actually is the most important thing if I have this other party member with this one. And then understanding, oh, it's not just those two that work together. It's that any of these can potentially work super great with each other. I just have to figure out how it is. Like everything synergizes with everything to varying degrees, but you can make things work. Right. And all
seeing that is like, Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Yes,
no.
I talk about Darkest Dungeon.
I know. Yeah, good.
To me, that is the joy of the game.
Yes.
Like when I realized that and had I saw the code, basically like the Matrix thing, like all the thing went away and I actually saw what was happening. That was such a feeling. I got the feeling of mastery around that the people get fighting Sword Saint Ishin.
Yes.
And figuring him out. Like, it's like, oh, like, no, I just know this. Like I get it.
Yeah.
And the experience of like finding a breakthrough and then putting into action, testing it and having it work is my favorite thing that a video game can reward, which is me being clever. It's not me being, or, me being understanding, coming with a breakthrough and intuition. It's not me being patient. It's not me tapping through a cutscene and something happening to my character. It's something that in the fiction of the game, they air, and in reality, Gary Butterfield figured out and then put into practice. And that is what makes me feel good about like a skill.
Yes.
It cannot be just an aggrandizement of my avatar. And for me, it can't be reflexes.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pulling off a big combo in like a Ninja Gaiden that does it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny is like now that I've got this, I feel very equipped. Like I could see myself, I just have this on iPad, like maybe doing a dungeon a night, because like, it just takes like a half hour,
it's super good for that kind of rhythm. Yeah. And then Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out, which is totally flipping the script. We'll talk about that a little bit, but it's going to be very different. So combat, as you mentioned, the marching order matters. Those are your positions. So think of those as like a strategic position, and the enemy has them as well. So you have your 4 heroes on one side, your 4 enemies on the other, and whether they're in the front or back matters. Each hero can equip 4 moves, and they can only be used from certain positions and affect certain positions. So you're looking at that when you're choosing the moves for them.
Yes. And like you said earlier, if you played any kind of RPG, the basic logic of this is going to make sense to you. You're going to have tougher melee fighters up front who will take attacks, and do melee damage mostly to the front ranks of the enemies. And you're going to have softer, more specialized people in the back, mostly affecting the back ranks, with their range attacks. And the area in between will be hybrids who can kind of be flexible.
Yes. Yeah. Each class has 8 skills that you can learn, but you can only equip 4 at a time. So you get to specialize your character. And these kind of suggest different builds. No character is just one thing. They can all do multiple things.
Yeah.
And your moves will also affect positioning. So this complicates your rank order. Either enemies can move you around to fuck you up. You're in the back. You can't do this move from the back, or you can move enemies in the back to the front where they're less effective.
Yeah. This is something, if you are playing this, you're not going to have to deal with. I found that I didn't have to deal with enemies purposefully disrupting my position very much outside of the Darkest Dungeon itself, where it becomes the mechanic.
A lot of things in the Darkest Dungeon scramble you.
Yes. Yeah.
There are a couple enemies that do it otherwise, but your characters have resistances to move, and it tends to be pretty decent. The other thing with the enemy AI in this is that it will try to fuck you up with that stuff, but the intelligence that it has is limited.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things you can learn about it that allow you to take advantage. So like if an enemy has higher stress, the enemy stress casters will tend to target them. Yeah. Try to pile it up. I've not found a way to manipulate the move stuff.
Gotcha.
Like I would have enemies move me into more advantageous positions, without really understanding what class they're moving around.
Yeah. If you get moved out of your optimal position, you can use an action to get back to it. Depending on how far you moved, different characters are going to be more or less mobile in ways that make sense, right? Nimble characters can move more, but this is going to take up an action. And this is in addition to, like, if you're a crusader, right, your basic kind of paladin guy, gets pushed a couple of positions back and he's meant to be in the front lines, you can use, one of his skills, if you have it equipped, to kind of attack deeper into the enemy ranks, and it will advance him. A lot of classes, not all of them, but most of them have an attack that will move them forward or back on a move. Yeah. So you can use that to get some kind of effect in instead of just squandering that turn on a move. Or being pressed out of your optimal position, left with no move that you can do. Hi, leper. I don't understand why people think the leper is so powerful.
It's a meme.
Yeah, okay.
Like the leper is very powerful, but he's not my favorite.
Yeah, but yeah, if you skip a turn, that piles up stress. So if you are powerless,
your guys don't like it.
Yeah, they do not like feeling powerless.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Each turn, your characters each get one action, and the enemies get usually one action, but bosses will sometimes get multiple actions. Mm-hmm. And there's an initiative. There's a die roll, and then they add your speed stat to it. Once every character is active, we go to the next round. There are some kind of effects to rounds. Of this. Did you end up running into reinforcements?
No, because I was warned about them. I understand the reinforcements were added later on in order to stop stalling, where you keep one enemy alive but stunned in order to use any skills that you have to heal stress and health. Yeah. So
you can still do it. You just kind of have to throttle the needle a little bit. Speed is incredibly important.
Yeah.
The move effects that you do when you do an action are really diverse. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that when we talk about classes. In general, you get a lot of options here. And you want to generally always be doing something. We talked about this with the move skill. It is better to attack and move up than just move up. Mm-hmm. But you can't there's not only damage, there's also status effects.
Yeah.
And status effects in this game, this is, to me, I can't think of a video game that does status effects better.
It's super meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, it's ridiculous that in video games, meaningful is a high bar to clear for status effects, because so many games include them just because it feels like you should.
Yeah, it's a legacy thing, but primarily they are things for the enemy to do to you and not you to do to the enemy, or it is they are unsuccessful enough that you are dissuaded from using them, and it's like, oh, that boss is a piece of cake if you put him to sleep. Okay, that has literally never worked before. I'm talking a lot about Final Fantasy there, but not just about Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's not. It's largely Final Fantasy, but it's lots of, and even this has the knock-on effect of having a million spells, 2/3 of which are just trash.
Yes,
in those games, like this game again, everything that is in Darkest Dungeon matters. Mm-hmm. None of it is just garbage.
Yeah.
So like status effects, you primarily rely on stun, bleed, and blight. Bleed and blight do damage over time. And they, the super important thing is they stack.
Yes.
So you set up blight on a character, like there's poison and bleeding. There's just two. And the reason why they're different is because different areas have different resistances, to those things, or different characters. So, you're getting 3 damage per turn. You stack this up, you're getting 6 damage per turn, for 3 turns. You stack this up, you're getting 9 damage per turns. It really, really adds up.
Yeah.
And it's per enemy action. Mm-hmm. That they tick. So enemies that have a lot of actions are really susceptible.
Yeah. Which makes some of those bosses that have high protection and also lots of HP, they actually melt pretty fast if you have the right party to lay dots on them. Yeah. And damage over time gets around protection. Protection is like damage resistance that an enemy can have. This is huge. And the thing that keeps that from being overpowered is that any individual damage over time effect has a limited time that it is effective. So it's like 3 points of damage per round for 3 rounds or something like that. So you still want to be laying these on because, while 3 rounds is a lot of time in this game, potentially it's not everything.
Yeah. And if you're not adding it on, then you're just getting 9 damage total, which is basically just like an attack. Mm-hmm. Stun is also incredibly important.
Yeah.
In this game, a little bit more than half of the heroes have a stun move. Mm-hmm. So stun stops the enemy from acting. One of the things is you are not a common misconception in this game is that using a stun is you're trading your turn for an enemy's turn.
No.
Every stun does something else as well. Mm-hmm. So you're always getting a little damage, a little debuff. You're stunning multiple characters. You're shuffling the party. Stun is huge.
Yes.
And similar to Divinity Original Sin 2, depriving the enemy of turns is really important. Enemy turns are devastating in this game. They're harsher than your turns are. So you have to use these tactics to minimize their efficacy while maximizing yours, and you are at the downhill. Like it's an uphill battle for you.
Yeah. And, I think that it's important to at least acknowledge that, like, the first thing that you see when you load up this game is that this game, Darkest Dungeon is about making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
You're firmly in the XCOM territory of, kind of always being at the disadvantage and figuring out how to fail successfully, let's say.
Yeah, fail upwards or minimize your failures. Take advantage of, which ends up being, for a game that is as deterministic, as this is in terms of giving you the information, there's a lot of room for improv.
Yes.
Because, this has a pretty good chance of stun. I'm going to go for it, but I need to have something in my back pocket if that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because even a pretty good chance of stun, it still might miss.
Yeah. Or like the damage will work, right? It'll do damage, but they'll resist the stun, or they'll dodge and get, and get neither. There are multiple different ways that enemies can rebuke you like that. But yeah, stunning, especially if you have somebody who can, oh my gosh, any caster, the Plague Doctor being able to lock down the back rows. Good. Enemies in the back. They'll fuck you up more than just dealing health damage to you.
They tend to be the stress dealers. Stress and disease and status effects.
Yeah. So
because the enemy plays by the same rules you do. They're going to compose their parties similarly to how you do.
Yeah. So locking them down and keeping them from getting any of those out is a big deal.
Yeah. Mark is another status effect. This will make certain skills more effective. It doesn't do anything on its own. The enemy can mark you as well. You can take marks upon yourself in exchange for certain buffs, which will make certain enemy skills more efficacious. And then there are buffs and debuffs, which are temporary kind of stat changes. Very importantly, these also stack.
Yep.
So, it is a viable strategy if you have a plus, critical plus accuracy skill like the Juster, to just spam that throughout the entire battle and just make your whole party better.
Yes. Yeah. And also understand that, just at a glance, by looking at your party, you can kind of see the menu of the effects that are on them and little symbols over their health bar. Mouse over that, or if you're playing on the iPad, long press on any of those and take a look and see, because the text on that describing maybe the enemy stacked up a status effect that reduces the potency of healing done to that character. So that's why you're only getting one or two at most when you use a round to heal them.
Yeah. You want to know those things for sure. These go both ways. There's a symmetry to Darkest Dungeon, which I really like. Everybody plays by the same rules. And you can heal status effects through items. Using an item in your inventory as a free action. But the items are limited, and really importantly, the thing fires first. So if you have a stack of blight, you will get poisoned before you can use the antidote.
Yes.
So that makes you cannot use an item on another party member, but it makes skills that get rid of status effects good.
Yes.
If say my Crusader gets poisoned, my Plague Doctor goes first. My Plague Doctor can use her turn to heal the Crusader.
I think importantly, we should probably say, because this is starting to sound very similar to other games that we have done that have been very determined by fixed turn order, things like Child of Light, things like Crimson Shroud, Final Fantasy X, etc. This game does not show you like a procession of who acts in what order.
No.
So
you can control by having higher speed. You can make an educated guess.
Yeah.
But people can still critically success or critically fail, which is playing into that the 80% perfect information, but 20% room to improvise.
Yeah. So as we're talking about combat and as we're talking about trying to get out in front of an effect, it's important to understand. Although, if you are trying to put an effect on an enemy so that they can be a dead man walking, it is especially important to like maybe target somebody who hasn't acted on that turn, because hopefully you can, you know, pile the dot on and they can take the damage this round as opposed to waiting to the next one.
Yeah. And you can get a general sense of how fast and slow party members are.
Yeah.
You know, so like even if you don't get an order, like your Crusader is going to go last.
Yes.
It's like one of the slowest classes in the game.
Yeah.
And you can see this, but it is up to you to look it up. You know, you have to look at their speed stat.
Yeah. And it's just right there on the screen. Everything is laid to you. It's not it is not nested anywhere. Yeah.
So combat kind of progresses. Everyone performs their actions until one side or the other one is out. Something they added to the game after I first played it is corpses. It was too easy to wipe out an enemy character and totally ruin the enemy's arrangement. You know, where they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So now they leave behind a corpse that holds their place, which you either have to smash or clear with a skill.
Yes.
There. So you can still move enemies directly, but if you're just doing it by killing enemies, you have to take a little bit of an extra step for that.
Yeah.
One thing I would love to have is I think heroes should have corpses as well. Like if one of your heroes dies, it does fuck up your order.
It really does.
I've had a character be the last member of the party before and have no moves they can do from the front.
Oh God.
And that's a bummer. So I think heroes should have corpses, and one of the DLCs, the free competitive DLC, the heroes have corpses. So I imagine it's something they will consider for Darkest Dungeon too.
Yeah. It's not always bad to have the corpses there, because also, you know, I've run into situations where, you know, I had, you know, because of who I had and because of the skills that were there, I didn't have very many options for attacking the front lines with anybody who wasn't on my front line. You know, it's like if you have an arbalist, right? The kind of the archer class, you're like, okay, well, I can't really do shit. Or if you have the jester, right? There, you know, I can't really do shit if the enemy is alone. Having the corpse there, keeping them further back in the ranks, actually does end up giving you another round or two for that enemy to be kind of gettable by more of your characters. So like you know, it doesn't get in the way. It just fixes the corpses in position for you, or it fixes the combatants in position. Yeah,
it allows you. It seems like a big downside until you start strategizing for positioning. On the enemy, and then you realize you want them to stay consistent. So we'll talk about these individual classes and locations in kind of the second half, but you do want to design your party rather, with these kind of synergies in mind. You want to read a class and see what it's good at. You know, generally you're composing a party to have DPS, some kind of healing, and then some kind of utility. There, and you can kind of mix and match between different classes to get that. You can play very basic. The party the game starts you with is incredibly versatile and powerful. You know, it's doing that on purpose. You know, there's a lot of intentionality to the first classes the game gives you, but you can really mix it up and get some pretty wild, broken stuff as well.
And you can either come to those yourself, or you can, you know, look them up. It's up to you.
Nothing wrong with that.
Something that I like is actually certain combinations of characters will have kind of like a name, like a named party assortment. So like all religious characters will have a name. I don't know. It's kind of like playing Little Inferno, but with your dudes.
You get a cute little like I love if you do 3 antiquarians and a hellion, it's sightseeing tour. It's very, very sweet. Like there's a little bit of a sense of humor to this game. We'll talk about that when we get to flavor, and stuff. But I think some of the cool badass dark lines are also pretty funny. And it's gonna be fun to talk about Wayne June. Wayne June, get on Cameo,
please.
So in addition to your health that you're dealing with, there's also stress, which functions as a kind of health, and then the light level of the dungeon. Your light level will deplete over time. Some attacks can raise and lower it as well. Attacks on your end raise it, attacks on the enemy ends and lowers it. And as you walk, it lowers. And this is replenished using torches. Generally, brighter light will give you more advantages, but less treasure. Enemies won't catch you by surprise. You won't be as stressed. if you do lower light, you will generally get it's tougher, but you get higher rewards.
Yeah. I never had the bravery to like mess around with a low light build, primarily because getting surprised and being caught on the back foot. At the best, it would cause the enemy to get an extra turn on you. At the worst, back attack. Everybody is out of position. A nightmare.
Yeah, it can ruin you to be surprised.
Yeah.
In this game. I don't fuck around with low light very much either. It's something that in my thinking of replaying with higher challenge things, like that is a well-known, like Torchless is a well-known Darkest Dungeon challenge thing that I've considered. And apparently once you know how to play the game, it goes a lot faster because your resources are just, you're getting so much stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a way to beat the game faster. Stress is basically a health meter. It goes from 0 to 200. And a lot of things will raise it, even just walking around in the dungeon will raise it a little bit. And you have some skills that will lower it, and there's some dungeon features that will lower it, but more things raise it than lower it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's incredibly important to the game, something that the game never tells you, but I think is it's reasonable to intuit, is that when you go back to the hamlet after a mission, you're fully healed, but your stress remains.
Yes.
That is the game telling you, hey, which of these is more important? And tying into the theme, right? Like, the wounds of war may heal, but are never, whatever the quote is.
Yeah.
So you want to prevent stress as much as possible.
Yes. You want to ameliorate it. You can build to fight it. You can build to like even just like raise resistance to stress, either with combat skills or with camp skills, and you can also heal it. And a lot of two of the structures in your hamlet, which only has limited number of structures, are kind of built to deal with this in the long term, right? In exchange for money, you can lower this. It's very important that this that this accumulates. Additionally, like an important part of the stress system is that it is a natural way to get you to rotate through heroes. If there was no long-term accumulation of stress, then there would be very little incentive for you to do anything but rely on the same four, 4 or 6, maybe subbing different people in. And one of the things that you need to do, it's not a goal that is stated, but it's absolutely imperative, is you need an extremely deep roster to finish this game.
Yeah. Which ties into the story theming stuff of it. Like if this is not the story of 4 heroes who cleanse a land. This is the story of you, sending people against the dark, essentially attempting to mill down the cosmic horror, and what you'll pay for it.
Yes.
Once you get 100 stress, you have a resolve check. A resolve check determines whether you either become to the stress or succumb to the stress and become afflicted, or if you push past it and become virtuous. The base chance is 25% chance for virtue, and trinkets and different things can affect this. Afflictions are, sanity. These are sanity checks in say like Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
They are a really big deal. So these are things like, angry, irrational, abusive, masochistic, things like that.
Yeah.
And they take the character partly out of your control and then give them a bunch of debuffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Some buffs actually, like if they're angry or abusive, they'll do extra damage. But the downside is always way more than any possible benefit that you would get. The biggest deal is losing is potentially losing actions. You get a paranoid character. They have a pretty high likelihood of when their turn comes around, they won't do anything, but they will move to the back of the party because they believe that the party members are demons who will betray them.
Yeah, or they'll refuse a heal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not letting that sawbones touch me.
I mean, and if it's the occultist, that makes sense, but
yeah, exactly. Like, you're right. 1 out of every 100 times with this, an afflicted hero is right twice a day. They also start yelling out about this, which stresses everyone else out.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're
Very
around
good,
somebody
like when
who lost control.
they start commenting on each other.
Yep.
Like, give me the damn crossbow. You know, just
Oh, I just the bark writing in this is very good.
yeah. You get a great sense of the characters for them not having straight up narratives.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll talk about that, but I really do like the characters in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Afflictions stick around unless you can reduce your stress to 0 in that expedition, or you can take them to a facility in the hamlet.
Yeah.
So a real big deal. Virtues are equally a big deal. If you become virtuous, that lasts for the entire dungeon, which is huge, and they're all great. Your characters will heal each other's stress. They will give each other buffs. They'll debuff the enemy for free, things like that.
Yeah.
Really, really incredible.
Yeah. And like virtues, like getting to the point where it's the test of will and getting a virtue, like that is a part of so many immersion stories for me where I felt like I was on the ropes, especially during boss fights, and especially in the darkest dungeon where I would not have succeeded if the die roll had went the other way. The
fist pump.
Exactly. when that comes through, just like, oh yeah, I can pull this out of the clutch. This is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you really get to grab, victory from the jaws of defeat with that. This needle that's 100 point. You can cross over multiple times and things don't stack. But once you get to 200 stress, the character has a heart attack. They either go on death's door, or if they're on death's door, they die. Which we'll talk about death later.
Yes.
That was added into the game and was very controversial when it was added. And then they kind of made it better.
Yeah.
So this game is very different than the launch version. If you were like me and played a launch version, like that's neat, but it's way too hard. They actually did do a lot of things to make it more friendly.
Yeah. And it's neat that the game has evolved like that. That is a good thing.
Yeah. Always a good thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk camping.
Let's talk
in the Pacific Northwest.
Let's talk camping. If you got the jester with you, it's glamping. A little bit more comfortable. Short expeditions, those can be done generally in one go, but short expeditions kind of dry up. Once you get kind of like to area mastery 2 or whatever, like the areas level up with you. You're going to go on medium and long expeditions. And when you go on these, that determines the size of the dungeon and kind of like how thorough you have to be with your objective. You get either 1 or 2 pieces of firewood that you can use to camp. You can do this wherever, as long as it's in a room. You don't do this in a hallway. And this is a huge opportunity to get a mid-dungeon just kind of like benefit. To recover health, you can reduce a lot of stress. You can pick buffs that are going to be effective for the next, 4-ish encounters, which is pretty big, even in long dungeons. Camping is incredibly important in this game, and that might not be especially apparent if you, like me, bounced off of this before, when you played it before you got to when medium and long dungeons were common.
It's interesting. The swing of camping is such that on champion level, like the highest level dungeons, medium expeditions are easier than short ones. Being able to get a camp in the middle. So when you camp, you feast. You get to choose how much of your food you eat. If you have a big meal, it restores more health and stress. To this, but this is food that's a supply. As you're going through dungeons, you get random hunger checks. They're not entirely random. There's a math to it, like there's a cooldown. But you can have to eat while you're wandering around. It's worth noting that food can also heal you, so it's worth keeping a lot of food around if you're low on healers for emergency healing. And then you use your team's camp skills. You have respite points. That's what they're called. The default is 12, and each skill a character can use uses a certain number of respite points.
Yes.
So you're allocating these 12 points to what you want to do.
Yeah. And these camping skills have a really wide variety. A few of them are not universal, but they're shared. Like different characters can give pep talks or do like a kind of rudimentary wound binding. But they are, as varied as the classes themselves, as varied as the combat skills that they have. And also incredibly important, when you're taking them into consideration. And like the regular skills, you can only have 4 of these equipped to choose from. Though you can, correct me if I'm wrong, you can like mess around with these before you camp. You just can't reallocate them when you are camping.
During camp, correct. Yeah. There are 7 everyone has. 3 of them are largely universal, as you mentioned, and then the 4 of them are unique. Because it's D&D based, you can be interrupted by monsters. So there are skills you can use to prevent ambush. I always prevent ambush. That's a controversy in the Darkest Dungeon community, and like some people just roll with the ambushes. It's true. Hey,
a controversy in the Darkest Dungeon community, because we
I
live in an absurd
community
world.
like it's not just like 2 YouTubers I've watched. like I talk to these guys. This is as dorky as I've ever been on a show. You know who I'm glad isn't here? Will.
yeah, you got lucky, punk.
Yeah, I love that man very much, but boy,
no quarter.
I would get dragged. No quarter given. Plenty of quarter asked for.
Oh god. Yeah. But you always stop your ambushes. Yeah.
And stopping the ambush also comes with knock-on effects. It's kind of like stun.
Yeah.
So even all those skills are not created equal. You know, we'll talk about those a little bit more when we talk about classes.
Yes.
Let's talk about death, baby.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Talk about RIP.
Yes.
All the bad things and the good things that can't be.
That was good. That was good. Thanks. I like that. Yeah. Hopefully if you use your camping and your skills right, you're not gonna have anybody die. But people are gonna die. Oh, you're gonna lose really important characters.
Yeah. It's very likely. Eventually you get to the point where it can be pretty rare.
Yeah, no.
But you still, even when you know the game pretty well, the characters still die.
Yeah, this is one of those nice games where it has an incredibly difficult beginning and end, but there's a middle where you kind of have your sea legs, and you don't have it. But I still I had a total party wipe to the collector. We'll talk about the collector. Oh yeah, the flavor on the collector though, man. Yeah, like leaving the spines attached, so good.
So your character is more or less perma-die. There's a rare town event where they can come back.
Yep, recrossing the river Styx. Yeah.
This is meant to, it's doing a thing that Dark Souls does. There are a lot of Dark Souls comparisons in my mind with this game, where it is punishing to lose the character like it's punishing to lose souls. And then the 201 level revelation is realizing it's not actually that big a deal to lose those characters. Like you have somebody who can take their place with just a little bit of training. But the actual feeling is very important to the tone of the game, of feeling like you got punched in the gut.
Yes.
When this happens.
Yeah.
We mentioned heart attacks a little bit, but when a character reaches 0 health, things are more complicated. And this is actually pretty generous.
It is. Yeah. It is one of those things where a great deal of the success of many difficult games, quote unquote, but it is most successful when you feel like you are not taken care of, but actually you are being gently cradled by the developer. Yes. You're being gently cradled by the developer over what appears to be a bottomless pit full of spikes.
And that is good. That's why people go on roller coasters and shit. It's a really thrilling feeling. The way this game does it is characters go on death's door if they get to 0 HP, and you have I think it's 2/3 is the initial. You have in your favor a chance to resist if you get hit again, dying. 1/3 is still pretty significant. You're going to die eventually, but you get a lot of potential time to take yourself off of death's door. You can change your death blow resist to this via trinkets and stuff. The biggest thing is when you get stuck on death's door, even if you're healed off of it, even 1 hit point will take you off of death's door, so you're guaranteed an extra hit. But you get a death's door debuff, like a mortality debuff, which will make them a little bit less effective in the dungeon because they saw their demise. Hey, I almost died fighting that fucking thing, man. I'm not as in it anymore. No, makes sense.
A pretty big deal. And there are camp skills specifically that can deal with this, but they're rare.
Very rare.
Yeah, that'll clear off your mortality debuff. There's an achievement, and I only know this because I got it, but it was one of the most harrowing fights I had. It was against one of the mini bosses in the darkest dungeon itself. But there's an achievement for surviving 5 attacks on death's door. You know, it was just each time resisted. I only won that fight because that person managed to stay alive. And I was unable to heal him for 5 turns because everybody else was dead.
That's the plus side of things like, like having those clutch wins like that. These games that have chance being a factor like that, even, Into the Breach, which is largely free of that, still has that with the building.
Yep.
Resistances, like that feeling of making a really unlikely die roll is a big part of the appeal of literally tabletop D&D.
Yeah.
And this game emulates it very well.
We're going to talk about this when we eventually talk about Hereditary, but so much of good, especially like horror media, but anything that is, kind of managing to stress you out. And I would say that this is a game that is managing its stress on you, the player. It's about control. It's about controlling the consumer's breath, Yeah. And there's so many times where it's like, okay, I'm going to see hold breath. And then it's either, or it's, as you let it out. Yeah. Very emotional. And that's not exclusive to this. It's a big thing in XCOM, et cetera, down the line. But it's
exclusive. It's not quite exclusive, but nearly exclusive to the genre.
Yes.
Right? Like it's a strategy game kind of trope for a reason.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's talk about stuff we find that's in the hallways.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some curios, baby.
Weirdly called curios. The fact that you have curios, trinkets, heirlooms. Just
the trinkets and baubles.
Yeah. I'm surprised that there aren't baubles. Maybe that's in one of the expansions. Curio is such a weird way to describe this. Such a weird term for it.
Because it can just be a big pile of garbage. It can be like like something I would consider to be a curio, like a interesting chest or like display case. And then sometimes it's just like, what if a big pile of pig parts? Like those curios behind the butcher shop.
I want to root around in this.
Yeah. I got a meat guy I go to for curios, snout, hooves, curios. General gelatin making things.
Had to take those curios down to the rendering plant.
It's just oh no, Secretariat's become a curio. A baseball made of Secretariat.
Oh god.
So these are props that you find in the dungeon, either in rooms or in hallways. And these are there's a wide variety of these. Some are universal, some are specific to different biomes, but these are things like treasure chests or altars or piles of pig parts. And you can deal with them, and there's different ways you can do it. You can raw dog it and just deal with them, and these tend to have percentage chances of good and bad things happening. Or you can use a consumable on them to get a much better thing happening.
Yeah. So holy water and such. Yeah.
Yes. You're going to want to allot for these when you're provisioning, because some of these are just absolutely huge. They're just really, really big. They can do things like get rid of quirks, which we'll talk about. It's one of the most expensive things in the game to do. You can do it for free in a dungeon. And then you can get buffs that last, that are better than most camp buffs.
Yeah.
Through candy use. And a lot of times you can get treasure from these.
This is a little bit like a community chest, to compare this to a worse board game, Yes. Could go either way, and you have a limited amount of influence. I never don't interact with these. Like I pretty much always do it unless it's like sacrifice blood to make the dungeon more difficult, But,
yeah. There's some of them that are generally not worth your time, and figuring these out.
Yeah.
Like figuring out, reading these and memorizing these is part of just the game knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to bring holy water to the ruins because a lot of those curios really benefit it.
Yes. There are some mandatory ones, like traps and barricades are considered to be curios. And again, just props that you interact with in the world. And those need to be dealt with. Like if you just walk over a trap, even if you detect it and you can see it there, I would still like just walk over it because I wasn't paying attention. They'll have different effects, diseases, debuffs, etc. You can select which character is going to disarm it by kind of clicking on them before you interact with it. You want to get the person with the highest speed, I believe. They have the highest chance of disarming it without activating it on themselves.
There's a disarm stat.
Is there?
They'll have a percentage, yeah. And also a weird, like 301 level lesson in the game is that traps are stress heals in the dungeon.
Yeah.
If you have people who can disarm them, it's free stress relief.
Mm-hmm. Just like critical hits or stress heals. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So a high crit character will do better with stress usually.
Mm-hmm.
There are also barricades. Big piles of walls. These things you want to bring shovels for, because if you don't, you spend time clearing it by hand, which takes light, sanity, and health, and is a big deal.
Yeah.
Everybody who I know who's played this game has, they provisioned for everything, but they forgot shovels.
Yep.
And that can be a real bad feeling.
Or early on, provision shovels, but didn't necessarily know how to use them. And got very confused why the shovels never depleted when I cleared the barricades and why I was losing sanity and light.
You thought the shovels were working as intended.
Yeah. Just like, wow, to think about how bad it would be if I didn't bring these shovels. No, no, they cleared it by hand, like the Griswolds digging the Christmas tree out of the ground by hand.
Yeah, this is very similar. I wonder what the team comp is, the Griswolds in this. If you put together that group,
there's a spell. Just the dad Clark can shout Russ, and then it moves Russ to the position behind him.
Yeah. And then you've had to fight the family roadster.
Family truckster, please. If you think you hate it now, wait till you drive it.
Yeah. But generally you're doing these to get money, resources and stuff, which we'll talk about now.
Yeah. Because this is not necessarily a game that is about loot. There's not an awful lot of like, oh, I found this helmet and I found these greaves. You're not on the Diablo curve for this, but it's important. Because yes, you want to bring resources back, but also there are trade-offs, right?
Yes,
because you have a very limited inventory. So when you defeat enemies or interact with curios that have loot in them, it'll bring up the loot screen, and you can grab either specific things or grab everything. And these fall into a bunch of different categories.
Yeah. So we have money that we'll have. We have hard forms of money, so gems. And stuff. These will have different, they'll stack up to a certain amount and are worth different amounts. It tells you this, you don't have to guess. And then there are heirlooms, which are these kind of side currencies that you use to upgrade buildings in your hamlet. Bust, portraits, deeds, and chests.
Yeah. Now, as for wands and scepters.
Or crest. Yeah. Yes, wands and scepters as well. Baubles, trinkets, portraits, deeds, and crest. These are something that is not very important in the early game and become very important in the mid game.
Yeah.
Those things. And then there are trinkets. Trinket. So these are accessories that you equip on your heroes. You'll always get one of these as a reward for a dungeon. There are different rarity levels and such, but you can also find them in the dungeon. And these are hugely important. This is, other than skill set, how you customize your party.
Yes. And yeah, they're just critical to your formation. Trinkets end up being, most of them come with, they end up coming with trade-offs to them. Like very early on, common ones end up like sacrificing speed to equip them, which makes sense. If you're wearing a big old heavy chain, probably not gonna but you're probably not gonna move as quick as before. But the rarer ones end up having a little bit more fewer downsides for bigger upsides.
Yeah. Or they have downsides that don't matter to that specific character.
Yes.
Or that specific dungeon. You're going into the ruins and something that lowers your bleed resist or your blight resist.
Yeah.
Who cares? Nobody's doing blight. Things like that. So these are very important. There are also class-specific ones that speak to the individual characters. So there are things that will either thematically or mechanically, and oftentimes both, work with a specific kind of build. So, for example, the Highwayman has ranged and melee attacks. You can there's like a sharpening sheath, which makes your range attacks worse, but your melee attacks better. And then the Highwayman's belt buckle, which does the reverse.
Yeah.
So you can specialize into one of those builds if you'd like.
Yes. And this is going to be important. You can change these around, right? And make that match whatever you're going to be going up against. Speaking of the Highwayman and trinkets, I love that it's possible for the Highwayman that you start with to equip his own head as a trinket.
Yes. There's canon names for all of the characters, but the only canon, those are the only two you start with that have canon names, Renaud and Dismas. Equipping your own head. Again, timey-wimey though. It's because it's not the first Dismas because of the Color of Madness.
Yeah.
Multiple Dismases have gone through here. One of the best mods for this includes head trinkets for all the heroes.
Oh, nice.
It's a really good mod. One of the early mistakes I made in playing this game was just giving everybody a trinket and then just leaving that on them, as opposed to fitting them to the expedition. So it's not like a piece of gear you equip like in a normal RPG.
Yeah, there's kind of I had a literal checklist that I followed early on. Where it was like, okay, double check your moves, double check your trinkets, double check all this. There's a pre-flight process that you need to go through if you're going to be successful. And also if you back out, so go to the screen where you're looking at the locations, highlighting all the stuff, backing out and choosing your team and upgrading everybody. If you go back to the location choosing screen, make sure that you reselect the place you want to go. Because if you just hit embark, you're going to go to whatever is automatically highlighted. And if you are, say, outfitted for the Cove and a short, a short place, and you end up going to, say, the Weald instead, you're going to have a very bad time.
It can be really rough. Yeah, you have to be careful about where you click on that for sure.
Yeah.
A big part of this when you're in the dungeon is navigating your inventory slots and the trade-off between provisions and loot. So the more well-prepared you are, the less profitable the game is. And this is giving you a risk-reward system built right into it. Yes. Do I want to come in, spend a lot of money to come in very prepared for success, or possibly skimp or give up my bandages for this attractive pile of treasure?
Yes.
And this is very intentional. The narrator comments on it.
Yeah.
It's making you make that tough decision.
Yeah. Picking it up's the easy part. Getting it home's the hard part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you get done with the expedition, either you succeed at the mission or you retreat. If you retreat, there's a big stress cost. You can retreat anytime outside of battle, and in battle, you have an increasing chance to succeed. So it starts at like 70% or something like that. Like you have a pretty good chance, but every time you fail to retreat, the chance goes up.
Yeah.
So eventually you will be able to retreat. It just costs a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And you only will carry the things that you brought in. So sometimes it's better to cut your losses, but tends not to be profitable.
Yeah. Regardless of how you get out, you're going to get the post-mission screen. If you succeeded, you're going to be selling a bunch of stuff, including whatever you brought in. Like you don't actually like accumulate a surplus. Whatever you brought in, it'll end up being sold back. Does that happen at a loss?
I don't know. It tallies them up, and I could look at the number change while the little inventory object pops up. Yeah, but I haven't. If it does, it's 150 gold, and you're getting 100 back or 75 back. It feels like a drop in the bucket with the loot screen.
Yeah, but it tallies things up. You get your static rewards, which you knew going in, and then whatever you found, that is that is just the gravy. Each mission raises the mastery level of a location, which determines when boss fights are going to become available. Mostly, so correct me if I'm wrong. This seems the variety of missions, either apprentice, journeyman, or master, or any of those. Seem to be mostly determined by the roster that you had as you leveled up characters that made more difficult things show up. or
Sure,
is that pinned to the mastery level of the location? I guess that's a question.
I think it's pinned to the mastery level.
Okay.
There are some things that are determined based on your character level, certain kind of events, but I think this is pinned to mastery level.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that easy missions don't go away.
Right.
They become less, like they become rarer, but you'll still have apprentice missions in the same dungeon, so you can train up new characters.
That's important. Also, when you're selecting missions, unless a particular town event is in effect, your characters will not kind of go on milk runs. A high level character will not take a low level mission. They will consider it to be beneath them.
And that range is much more narrow in default difficulty. We should have mentioned this earlier. Everybody who is listening to this as an explainer and is planning to play this game, play on Radiant mode. It's not easy.
Nope.
So don't expect it to be easy mode. It just loosens some of those restrictions. Yeah. So on that mode, like a level 5 or 6 character can go on a level 3 dungeon, but won't go on a level 2 dungeon. So you can have people kind of shepherd. And I like that style of play much more.
Yes.
But they won't go into a level 1 mission because it's beneath them, and they will go to a very difficult mission, but they'll whine about it, and they get tons of stress just for doing it.
Yeah.
You also see the experience that your crew gets. You get to see if they level up. You get to see which quirks they accumulate. Quirks are incredibly important.
Yeah.
Negative quirks happen because of stressful events or high stress. Positive quirks, if you did well and kept your stress low. And quirks are modifiers. They modify your stats or your behaviors. And these are as important as trinkets, basically. You will get a quirk that's like +2 speed, and that's great.
Yeah.
That's like having a free trinket equipped.
Lock that in.
Get a shitty quirk that's like this character steals. Reynard always starts with kleptomania.
Yeah.
Because of the character, the real life person, the real life crusader he's based on. That sucks because that means he has like a 50% chance of stealing your treasure.
Yeah. Reducing your overall, you're reducing your take.
He's eating your points. It's not okay. Yeah. So in between missions, one of the things you can do is get rid of these things or lock them in.
Yeah.
And they will become, negative ones will become locked in on their own.
Yeah.
If you just leave them long enough, and that makes sense. Like you're forming a bad habit.
Yeah.
Basically. And they're more expensive to get rid of if they're locked in.
Yeah.
And positive ones you choose to lock in.
Yes.
Because you can only have 5 at a time, and they will shuffle out.
Yeah.
They'll replace each other.
So you don't want to have that +2 speed get replaced with, I don't know, something that's like you perform really well at low torchlight. It's like, no, that's not.
So there are a couple of garbage ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just like +2 speed on the first round.
Yeah.
Like a straight downgrade. There are also diseases. You can get diseases just from adventuring. They can be inflicted in battle as well.
Yeah.
Those are dealt with in the Hamlet, and they are devastating.
Yep.
Diseases are real bad. Your characters come back with the bubonic plague and shit. It's no good.
Yeah. And I think important for that, there's no contagion system on that. So like if one character gets the bubonic plague, it's not like after a certain number of turns, they start spreading it to people. It's not like that. It's just pretty profound stat debuffs.
Yeah. The Crimson Curse, which is of the Crimson Court.
Yeah.
The disease that adds does have a contagion effect.
Oh shit. There's always an exception.
Yeah, you didn't play with that in Salt.
I know. I wasn't criticizing you. It's just that it's a very complex game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically vampirism. So that is why it spreads, is your characters will start feeding on each other when they're locked up in the bar or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, diseases and quirks can all be dealt with at the Hamlet. And Gary, the town is a character itself.
It really is.
That's a joke. I say that as a joke, but really, no. This is what you are upgrading. Your success determines on managing the way that this gets better.
Yeah, these are your permanent upgrades.
Yeah,
there's one person who lives there, the poor caretaker, who spends a lot of time drinking and whoring.
When you get late in the game and you are buying stuff. Oh gosh, is it the caretaker? Who is it that's starting? Yeah, so when you're buying stuff from the caretaker, and you get the visual glitch that has him like turning into the monstrosity. So good.
Yeah, it's real good. That's a amazing moment when that happened, because I didn't know it could happen.
Yeah.
So there are a number of facilities that unlock slowly in the town, and these allow you to customize your heroes or deal with negative effects to your heroes. Did you play with districts?
No, I saw that was associated with Crimson Court, and I was like, that's probably not probably not something I want to deal with.
That's a-okay. Like, you didn't miss too much. They're purely additive.
Okay.
Like, they don't hurt you at all. I'll just briefly put them here because where else am I going to put them?
Yeah.
You can, if you have the Crimson Court, you can just add districts without adding, the actual vampirism. And the districts are like static benefits. So you spend a lot of heirlooms and a blueprint, which is a currency that gets added to bosses, to make like a granary. And the granary means you start every mission with some food.
Oh, cool.
Like, you start with 8 food, and food heals you for double. So it's a big investment, but there's a really good one. There's a puppet theater that makes your passive stress go down. You lose like 10 stress just from not doing anything, just hanging out in town, which, if you have a big enough roster, means you'll save money on stress relief, things like that. Yeah. So those are worth mentioning. You don't actually individually upgrade those. You just buy them and then they're just active.
Oh, nice. Cool.
The base ones you actually have, you upgrade them with heirlooms.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it sounds like I didn't miss much rather than just another way to use my resources. I was kind of riding on a shoestring, especially with heirlooms, for the majority of this. Part of the process was, I think that I beat this. It feels like I beat this in fewer weeks, like fewer expeditions than is generally preferred, just because I was on the time limit. So I didn't have like an awful lot of time to get resource rich on this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a-okay. That's a perfectly fine way to deal with it. They added them with the Crimson Court with an additional challenge.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're meant to balance that out a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
These buildings that you upgrade, you either get higher levels of upgrade, you lower the cost of service, or expand the services for them. So you either have more stress relief, more slots for stress relief. You can get more recruits that come in, higher level recruits, etc.
Yeah.
People relieve their stress either at the Abbey or the Tavern, and some of the quirks you can get will lock you into or out of those things. Like, if you're a nympho, you'll only go to the Tavern.
Yes.
To the brothel section. But if you have a love interest, you will not go to the brothel. Or no, if you have the love interest, you do go to the brothel. The nympho is you get more stress relief from it.
Yes.
Things like that.
Yeah. If you're a known cheat, you can't gamble. Things like that. Upgrading unlocks slots on these. That is, ultimately, I ended up using the stress relief mostly to get rid of afflictions. Was when I turned to this. I was rotating through enough characters that just the ambient stress relief of being in town was enough. You do want to kind of keep some of these open, though, because occasionally the caretaker or the town crier will be there. Just taking up one of the slots. So there's just a random chance that one of the facilities, if you only have one slot, will be locked off to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of them have different negative and positive effects that can happen.
Yeah.
To them. So, like, if you are praying in the Abbey, like, you can become consumed by visions or whatever and refuse to leave the transept. You know. If you're in the Tavern, you can lose money or trinkets gambling, or end up hungover the next day. Yeah, things like that. It doesn't have to happen that way, and you'll get a little kind of news bulletin whenever you're in the Hamlet that will tell you. Reynard was out drinking and is feeling sluggish today.
Yeah, so it's like a big like while you were out screen that happens. Yeah. The sanitarium is very important. This is where diseases are cured, and also where you manipulate quirks, either removing negative ones or locking positive ones in. Everything gets more expensive as you level up, but especially quirk manipulation, and kind of uprooting a locked in negative quirk. It might actually be advantageous instead to dismiss that person and bring in somebody new.
especially if they're young. Like if they're little and you haven't put a lot of investment into them.
Yeah.
A thing the game doesn't tell you that I wish it did, that ends up becoming a tactic in kind of the mid game, is that you can remove negative quirks and lock in positive ones at the same time.
Oh shit!
That would have been do something in each column.
That would have been really good to know, actually. Oh no, I never thought to try that.
that caregivers convention, which is the best event that makes the sanitarium free, so you can lock in positive quirks for as many slots as you have and get rid of negative ones for free. You save a lot of money.
Yeah.
For that, if you can do both. And I wish there's no excuse for the game not to tell you that.
Yeah.
If I say a neat thing in this game does, don't automatically assume that I'm being defensive about the game.
No.
Having it there.
I was not making that assumption.
Yeah. There's also the blacksmith and the guild there. This blacksmith is where you upgrade your weapons and armor. There are 4 levels. This is really big. Your armor determines your hit points, generally, and then your weapon also determines your speed.
Yeah.
Among other things. So this is very, very important. You do not want to come into a dungeon under-kitted.
No. Like, just raising resolve levels does not come with all the advantages of raising levels. The important things, especially for survivability, are tied to your gear. And this takes money. It's one of this is going to be this, and upgrading your moveset at the at the guild is going to be one of the most important reasons that you're going to want to be flush with cash.
Yeah, the guild is where you unlock skills and then upgrade them. Another thing to keep in mind: you don't need to upgrade every skill.
No, just your specialties.
Just the ones you use, and then some of them gain really diminished return. So, like, I never upgraded a mark skill. Really?
Yeah.
Because it'll always apply the mark. The mark can't miss. They always have some kind of knock-on thing, but other than the one that removes protection, I generally kept those at level 1. So you want to be choosy where you spend money here.
Yeah. You don't want to spend an awful lot of money. Like, I don't know. There's no reason for my plague doctor to ever use the incision, skill. Like, it's like, okay, no, not going to waste any money on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't need to, don't get sticker shock from looking at those. You can be choosy on these.
Yeah.
And then the Nomad Wagon, or rather the Survivalist, is like the guild, but it gives you camping skills. These are expensive, but they don't have levels. You just unlock them, and then they're unlocked.
Yeah.
You'll start with a couple of them unlocked randomly.
Yeah.
And then you'll choose to have other ones.
Yep. The Nomad Wagon, very important. This will give you a randomized set of trinkets each week that you can potentially buy. Upgrading this increases, or either lowers the cost, and these can get very expensive, or it will increase the number of trinkets that are drawn. And as you progress, rare, the mixture will start throwing in more rare stuff every week. Yeah.
And sometimes that'll be exactly what you need. And at some point, you do a flip in the game where cash, like gold, becomes pretty common, but heirlooms are what you're grinding for. And that's when you want to start buying trinkets.
Yes.
Because you have an idea of what you specifically want. Most importantly is the stagecoach.
Yeah.
You will always get a random assortment of new crew recruits every week, no matter what. Sometimes you'll get more. Sometimes you'll get specific ones in addition, but you never run out of dudes.
No.
So you want to, this is where you expand your roster. So you have how many people? I've never played this game and not had my roster capped out.
Oh yeah.
You can improve how many recruits show up. So you have a bigger draw to choose from. This can be great, even if you're just getting, I need another Vestal. Just getting 2 Vestals show up, and you can choose the one that doesn't have, sensitive eyes or whatever. The one that has the better quirks.
Yeah.
Or better moveset unlocked. And then improving the level in which they show up.
Yeah.
This is something that I think is also controversial in my community, the Darkest Dungeon community.
my people?
Yeah, my people. And my church, this is controversial.
Okay.
Because they tend to, I don't fuck with this because they tend to come in with very expensive locked-in quirks, negative quirks.
Yeah.
So, but I also, every time I play this, I take the real slow road. Stygian difficulty, which is the highest difficulty on this, is the one where you have a limited number of weeks to beat the game, that is where I imagine this is actually pretty important.
Yeah.
Because you need that leg up when you're replacing a lost unit. For me, I was like, oh, I'll just train up a new guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's no big deal.
Yeah. I'm always going to be kind of developing the farm team for this. Mm-hmm. And so getting somebody in at level 0 or level 1 isn't necessarily that big of a problem. I mean, especially because those early levels come very easily. And then you can start, once you get them to like level 2, especially in the mid game, it's kind of easy to just always have a rookie thrown into a team for some of the bigger dungeons. It's high risk for them, but it will level them up quickly. Yeah.
If anything, it is worth doing it so characters show up at level 1 rather than level 0, because level 0 characters start with 20 stress when they go on their first adventure.
Mm-hmm. 2 green. Yeah.
So what you're doing is you are doing this process we've discussed over and over.
Right.
Hopefully your heroes are succeeding. You're gaining more money than you lose. You're getting better quirks and trinkets as you continue, as characters reach the resolve level 6, which is the highest level. And you're getting them here so you have a big enough stable to take on the darkest dungeon.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about in the back part of the episode.
Yeah.
There are town events, which we mentioned before. These are things that give you buffs or free levels or things like that. You want to be on the these are like community chest style things as well. Be on the lookout for what these are.
Yeah.
And when they show up, to take advantage of them.
There are like a couple of these, and like literally a handful that kind of imply quests that you have to deal with. We'll talk about those when we get there. But they can be a pretty big deal, especially the bandit one.
Yeah. Yep. We'll talk about the bandit for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the aesthetics of this game.
Let's do it. This game is an aesthetic triumph.
It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
The way the drawings, the music, and then the voiceover, which we'll talk about a lot. All of it is very good to me.
Yeah. It's a real triumph of, I think, design over fidelity, let's say. It's a pretty, if you look at it, it's a pretty modest product insofar as, very simple 3D perspective effects are going on, like in the dungeons themselves. It's kind of like South Park, actually, kind of character sprites that are zoomed in on as they go through key poses. And everything is done at the asset level in this beautiful art style that is like this kind of like woodcuts mixed with illuminated manuscript, kind of like real thick line style things. Style characters, kind of mixed in with some like Mike Mignola color work going on.
Yeah.
Extremely distinctive in a way that, knowing Darkest Dungeon 2 is going 3D, like I've not really looked at, screens or videos of that because I kind of want to just keep my powder dry on it. Losing this 2D art style, it's going to be a bummer to me, actually. I think I anticipate.
I think I also have that same apprehension. I trust these devs a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they'll manage to keep the same style.
Yeah.
And that same kind of feeling. I really like the way these look. It wouldn't work for me in an action game.
Nope.
These kind of like paper doll things almost.
I wish that there was a better way to do the the idle animation and the walking, kind of having, I worked at an animation studio that primarily did character animation and After Effects. It's real, like, okay, we're just going to apply some like warps on this to kind of give the appearance that there is movement on this. Just real After Effects puppet rigging kind of stuff.
It's very silly looking, but for me, it works for me as the board game, the kind of diorama that is going on here.
Yeah.
The individual characters and monsters are all really well designed. They look, the colors are really bold on them. They have very distinctive silhouettes. All of that stuff is very good to me.
Yeah.
The stress symbol of the game, which is the game's logo, which is kind of like a man catcher, whatever that demon catch pole, the demonite Titanite catch pole.
Yeah, it looks almost like a crown of thorns, like a tiara of thorns or something like that. It's real distinctive. It's like the literal logo for the game. I love how that pops up everywhere. Here's the word of the day, kids: pareidolia.
The opening cutscene,
Yep,
with the whip, and then the wagon wheel turning into it, really good.
Yeah.
The sound design is very good. So this like the kind of kinesthetics of like a critical hit or a critical failure, things like that, all have the appropriate sound for them. The music is really good. One of the things, if you're ever just like putting on something in the background, throw on this soundtrack to The Color of Madness. It's the strongest music in the game. It's incredibly good because one of the gimmicks for The Color of Madness is it's supposed to be more uncanny than just like oppressive. So they do some really weird kind of like chord changes and tricks in the music to it to make it sound like, I almost want to say like proggy. It's really cool.
Yeah. I'm down with that being experimental. It's paradoxical the way that this is earwormy, like just I've had the Hamlet music just going in my head 24/7 since I started playing this for the show.
I'm gonna have that playing whenever I'm at my house. I'm doing Hamlet decisions, like deciding on whether to buff Pocket or debuff Jessica.
Why would you debuff Jessica?
She's got too much power.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she needs a nerf.
That picture of her resting her chin on the cat tree was way too adorable.
They twin all the time now. Like now that Pocket's using his freestanding cat shelf that I put on the wall, they'll get in the same position up there.
Ooh,
like it's really cute. It's also Pocket had been like guarding the litter box.
Okay,
and then I woke up today and they were both on the guarding the litter box. And then I went and grabbed some coffee and came back, and then just Jessica was guarding it. So I don't know what their politics are going on with those two. They're up to some kind of nonsense. Some Coen Brothers scheming.
some kind of check to see that there's like they're not tunneling through the walls. Like maybe they're
under
just
the
like
litter box.
Yeah, or just using the litter box to like dispose of the dust. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, the music is really earwormy, and you might not expect that to be because it does have kind of a classical, or orchestral kind of sound to it.
And then the biggest thing for this, many things this game has like the kind of the appellate of my favorite version of. This is my favorite game that is narrated.
Yeah, and we did Stanley Parable, and that game is all about the narration.
Yeah, or Bastion.
Yes,
this is my favorite.
It's really good.
The narration takes place from a character. The ancestor is performed by Wayne June. Wayne June did a lot of the reason why they found him, and the reason why he agreed to do it is he had done the audiobook versions of a bunch of Lovecraft stories. And this is Red Hook Studios, obviously big Lovecraft influence, and just incredible. These little barks have the same kind of. They're also earwormy. Even though they're not musical. Yeah. Like I will get specific deliveries of Wayne June stuck in my head.
Yeah. Great is the weapon that cuts on its own. Yeah.
Cuts on its own. There's also ones of these that I think are very funny.
Yep.
And I promise they're intended to be. Like I love when he's like, treasure beyond all imagining. You care for such things. Like he tries to play it off all casual.
Yeah.
Or if only treasure and baubles could staunch the flow of otherworldly madness. And it's like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
Yeah. He's just a lot.
I know your story. He's such a ham.
It's so good. Steal their food. Like it's just everything is deliciously evil.
Yeah.
He just fucking gnaws on it.
And he's so over it
so
too.
Good.
I love how disdainful he is of fucking everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense with the ending. Now you've seen the ending and stuff. Yeah. Like, of course he is, know? Yeah. It's just, and him narrating the boss introductions, which we'll talk about, are just like among my favorite things that the game has done. Just really, really cool. And the whole thing has this kind of like gaslight, Gothic Renaissance Lovecraft thing that is very, very strongly carried forward. incredibly Lovecraftian.
Yeah. And just like the backstory that's available here through the boss fight narrations, and the journal pages that you pick up, like all of that is really good. I understand there's more of this in the Crimson Court, especially just from poking around on TV tropes, reading about characters and things. But like the characterization specifically of the ancestor is really good. Like the fact that everything that you encounter is his fault. They do a very good job, subtly and unsubtly, building this guy up to be the monster that he is.
Yes. Yeah. And that is as Lovecraft as it gets, right?
Yep.
Like you are beholden to your ancestors' crimes. Like that as an idea is, one of the kind of secret thing that this does that is, very Lovecraftian. The other one that I think this handles really, really well in terms of flavor, I don't know where else to put this.
Yeah.
But I think this is my favorite game to deal with, being a video game hero should break your brain.
Yes.
Your characters in this, like I'm sure there have been discoursey articles about like whether it is problematic or ableist to have a character come back with a stress affliction.
Yeah, with a named condition that real people come by for any number of complex reasons that are not I rooted around on some pig parts wrong.
Yeah, the bad curio behind the Arby's. But to me, it is. I find it more frustrating when video games don't do anything with that.
Yeah,
just the idea that like you have to be this person who gets murdered and murders constantly and it does nothing to you. I think this game does that consequence both narratively and ludically as well as anything.
Yeah.
You look at your like fucking Drakengard's or whatever, and like the game's going to tell me I'm a bad person, but I don't give a shit. I'm just playing a really horrible ARPG.
Yeah.
Here it's like my characters go through the shit. I'm putting them through it. That ties into the theme, the narrative theme and the mechanical theme. And because of that, like they are broken.
Yeah.
Like you can break their brains. It has a real effect on them.
Yeah. It has costs and it has effects on the other people around them too.
Yeah. In a way that feels real to me and feels very intentional. Like the game is about that.
Yeah.
Not just narratively, but in terms of play as well, which is the reason why I think this is better than anything Yoko Taro has ever looked at or even touched, is because he does that in a very strong way as opposed to just telling me, this character killed a lot of people. Yeah. Thank you for telling me.
And like in interviews and just generally reading about this, the developers talked about they in making this Lovecraftian, they didn't want it to be kind of this outmoded idea of insanity in the Lovecraft kind of way. Like I looked at the wrong book and therefore I'm raving and carving symbols onto the wall. They specifically cite Band of Brothers and talking about trauma. And how it shapes people who have been in extraordinary situations, and the fact that all of this is tied to stress and is tied to things that happen, and manifest specifically as coping mechanisms. You come, if you had a bad experience in the Warrens, by God, you come away with a phobia of the Warrens. I don't want to go down there. It's full of pigmen, dude.
Yeah. Have you seen The Flesh? Christ, like it's horrible. Yeah. And it's just like that is. I don't understand. Like I can understand intellectually why there'd be discourse around that.
Yeah.
I cannot shape my head into the mindset that is offended by that idea and doesn't think that it's actually really cool and good.
Yeah.
Like even morally, not just cool, like from a gameplay perspective. I like that I'm doing video game atrocities because that's what video games are. A collection of atrocities you do.
Yeah.
And my characters are not like the game is not letting me get away with it. It's not Spec Ops where it's like literally saying, Gary, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
It's saying like, look at the cost, like look at the cost. I don't get super invested in Dismas, where I have an emotional attachment to him, but I do feel like, that is what would happen if I sent him down there to almost die against a swine god.
Yeah.
He'd probably be pretty upset.
Yeah. I can see the discourse going against it for like specific terminology or whatever, but I think that in the grand scheme of things, especially as regards horror games, where it's like, this character is in an insane asylum because they're bad. There is a real stigmatization that goes on that does not feel present here. I would probably feel different about that if I was, more disabled by my mental illnesses and things like that. And anybody has their own individual right for it. But looking at it, I definitely agree with you that this is it feels different because it is, again, so integrated. Our watchword. This is mechanical and it is saying something about what these people are going through and ultimately what this all adds up to, right?
How many 100, how many video games are there where like you actually care and treat the trauma of your characters?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just that my character becomes abusive. It's that I spend resources to fix them. I'm not doing it altruistically. I'm doing it for mechanical reasons.
Yeah.
But in the game you were talking about where characters, like, they're bad, they're in an insane asylum, like, that's just their start and end point. Here, because it's fluid, because it's something that is resultant of my play, like, I actually get, like, I am a caretaker. Like, I'm taking care of my little dudes. Like, yes, sometimes I'll throw them away when they're garbage. Yes, I send them in horrible situations. But I built you a puppet theater. I did that for you, little business.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, like it's just I don't know, man. I'm really glad that I wasn't super plugged into discourse when this game came out.
Yeah.
Well, so I missed a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that it. I think it hit before discourse poisoning really spread as much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the development before we get to the end of the very long generalities of this episode.
Yeah. This is made by a very small team, Red Hook Studio. I think at the time of development, it was like 4 or 6 people, depending if you count the sound team. But it was headed up by the director, Chris Bourassa, and lead designer, Tyler Sigmund, both of whom worked at Backbone Entertainment, which is a studio that primarily did arcade conversions.
Ports.
Yeah. Bringing arcade games to like Xbox Live Arcade and such.
Yeah, the fact that you can play the X-Men arcade game and Simpsons arcade game on your 360.
Yeah.
These dudes. So they decided to work on something together in 2013, formed Red Hook Studios in British Columbia, choosing one of the worst and most racist Lovecraft stories to name themselves after.
It's a good name for something. It is bad when associated with that story.
Yeah, just when eventually, like, Providence does some stuff to redeem that story. Like, they make it there's a better version of that in Providence, that comic. So they started working on what would eventually become Darkest Dungeon. Initially a top-down tactics game, but they thought it would be boring to look at the top of everyone's heads the whole day. So they switched to a side view of the combat.
Yeah. And they switched to navigation for the side view for navigation as well, because they didn't want to make a whole bunch of different assets, but the side view and then, like the different angles at the top. It's like, let's just do everything, from the side view with this node and hallway kind of construction. And I think that, like, deciding to go with the side view on this is one of the biggest breakthroughs of this game. There's a little bit of precedent for this, marching order and things like that, like with dungeon crawlers, like the Bard's Tale, any number of games that, like this and Legend of Grimrock share a lot of antecedents, right?
Yes. Grimrock is a really good, comparison point for this. So early on in development, they had this idea and they were trying to figure out which edges they need to sand down. Like, when is position going to matter? How much do you have to actually tend to your heroes? How hands-on do you need to be?
Yeah.
They were working on it. They ran out of money. So they turned to Kickstarter, and they already had a trailer and a working product, which is Kickstarter Gold.
Yes.
They shot past their goal very quickly because they could say, like, hey, we got a game.
Yeah.
We just need to finish it. Like, you will get to play with this.
We assure you. Yeah. We're not just idea guys. Like, we've actually done the work. for this. And then the rest of the development happened out in the open, both through Kickstarter updates and with early access. I forget the exact quote, but they said something like it was strange developing this because it was like working on a game naked in a glass cube above Times Square, I think is what it was. I cannot imagine developing a game in the open like this, so exposed to the buffeting winds of fans with expectations.
Especially now, again, this seems like a thing that like you could do then. I don't know if that's just bias that makes the past feel like a more innocent time.
But like even back then, like it was ridiculous to hear like, okay, you know, they made changes. They added a couple of different things, including the corpses, right? The corpse system we talked about earlier, and then like spurned Kickstarter backers sicking Jim Stephanie Sterling on them, saying like, aha, yes, you know, this is malfeasance. And like you have to understand, Sterling goes after like you know, scams, goes after asset flips
and flams. like they love scams and flams.
They love scam and flim flams. Going after people who couldn't deserve it. And they were like, no, this is actually like rules. Like, why are you being a cop? like why are you doing this to these people who are just working on their game? It's really dirty pool. I don't know.
Super. I think it would be worse now, but I do take your point. Like it was bad then as well.
Yeah. I think that it was like 2015 or 2014 though. No, it was 2015 when it was out in early access. So like that was in full on, consumers rights, consumer advocacy kind of thing in gaming.
Yeah. The dark side of Jim Stephanie Sterling.
Yes.
Big hit when it came out, and they supported this for a very long time.
Yeah.
So we have the expansions, which we talked about, including, the Butcher Circus, which came out like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like relatively recently, the free PvP expansion for this that works way better than you might expect. It doesn't make any sense that PvP would work, but it does. Huge portions of this were just things they added on. So like classes, the Hound Master was an update. Things like that. When me and Nick covered it for Check It Out Comrade, an older Duckfeed show, it was not very much like it is now. No corpses, no heart attacks. Stress was just 1 meter to 100, and you just got afflicted, and that was it. And one of the things I really love about it is that you can change a lot of this stuff in the options menu.
It's very customizable, and that is that's a great solution to a lot of these problems.
And I read it. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Like I watched a GDC talk with these guys and they talked about it and they're like, listen, we really do believe like this is the way it should be. But at the same time, like if you prefer it that way, we're not going to take that away from you. Yeah. And I just wish that was everyone's attitude in video games. Like make your statement, make your authorial statement, but don't patronize me. Yeah. Like you don't know what's best for Gary.
There's a preset. There's a preset that you can hit that is like, make this darkest dungeon settings. And it puts everything to the default, but it is all laid out. It is all explained to you, what each of these is going to do, and they can be changed at any time.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think that is something every developer should look to.
Yeah.
For inspiration. And these guys aren't unique.
Nope.
And that like is a big part of Celeste.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good thing to have happen, but it's really, really changed a lot. I want to briefly mention the expansions, just say what they're like. I already talked about the Butcher Circus. I don't do PvP very much, so I only played a little bit, but I did watch it, quite a bit of it, and it is neat. Yeah. Created the man at arms is incredibly powerful because he yells at you until he stresses out the other party, which created tons of fun memes in my community, my church, my people, with old man yells at cloud and it just being the most effective thing in the world. The Crimson Court adds vampirism.
Okay.
Which is a separate thing to manage. Once it gets out, it can spread very easily. The cool thing about it is you choose when to go to the Crimson Court the first time, and you are literally opening the gates to it. The ancestor locked it up a long time ago, and that's what adds these roving monsters to your dungeons that can give you the Crimson Curse. Yeah. So you need to drink the blood for that, or you will slowly waste away and die. Oh, sure. You get faster and faster, but weaker and weaker as you get more desperate for blood. And it includes, the dungeons are laid out similar to the Darkest Dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
So they're specific. And they have the gimmick of you can leave any time and save your progress.
Oh, nice.
So you leave, when you come back, you end up in the exact same space in the dungeon. They're meant to be done over several weeks.
Nice.
They're hella hard. All three of the bosses are very hard. The last boss I've only beat once.
Mm-hmm.
And they each have unique trinkets that come in a set. So a character will have, like a class will have 2 trinkets. If you have them together, that multiplies their effects.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
And then the farmstead is an endless mode. There's a couple story missions dealing with the miller, but it is an endless mode that has its own enemies and remixes enemies.
Okay.
Through things.
The farmstead is the color of madness, right?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. And it's really neat. There are like different qualities of light that you go through. That give you either buffs or debuffs.
Oh, that's cool.
And change the music and the like as you go through.
Yeah.
And it is an endless mode that you're mostly doing to get these crystal shards that you can buy really powerful trinkets.
Yeah. The story content of both of those is real unique. Just to underline it, Crimson Court, like, this is about the early days of the ancestor becoming a bastard, right? Like his kind of like switch from being just a hedonist to starting to dabble in this really dangerous stuff, right?
Well, it's what set him on the path. Like he kills the Countess in it, who is some kind of otherworldly creature that we don't know where she came from, and took her to his wine cellar and mixed her blood in with the wine.
Oh, good.
To trick all of these nobles. And instead of, he got just a little bit of it, which is why he saw the thing, or how he saw the thing that was beneath the manor. Mm-hmm. But all the nobles started like fighting and fucking and degenerating into these vampire things. And he just locked the door. So the entire time for hundreds of years, they've just been like breeding and this like big, horrible aristocratic vampire like fuck party.
Yeah.
And they've all turned into these horrible, like the Darkest Dungeon take on vampires is really cool. They use mosquitoes as a touchstone for the design.
Oh, nice.
Really creepy. They all have like proboscis and shit.
Color of Madness, like, shows how
it's literally the color on a space.
Yeah, there was a guy who was like, "Hey, the fields are working pretty bad," and like, okay, cool, let's steer this meteor into the planet so we can kind of spur on some of the crop growth. Oops,
it's like tobacco. It's not dissimilar to tobacco. Like, like, didn't grasshoppers go on a rampage? Like, because they tried to reason with him. They both add wandering bosses. Mm-hmm. The hardest of them, one of the hardest bosses in the game, is the Fanatic, who is a vampire hunter. Who shows up if you bring too many Crimson Cursed people into a dungeon, and the title screen changes to him.
Oh shit!
Just smiling at you, and he's a real motherfucker. And then the thing from the stars, which is the one that is added by the Color of Madness, which is not nearly as much of a motherfucker, but isn't my favorite boss design or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's cool. I'm happy to read about them. Who knows what the future holds? But it's cool at least to get spoiled on it and understand, what this team is working with.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber named Bear Taffy who became kind of big first through streaming Darkest Dungeon, and he got to voice one of the bosses in the Crimson Court.
Oh dang! Yeah, I love when that happens. Yeah,
it's very sweet. And then Wayne June recorded a bunch of custom like subscriber barks.
Oh, I read about that. Yeah, for they did that for a couple of streamers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they're real fun. Because they have the sense of humor.
Yeah.
Darkest Dungeon 2 coming to early access on October 26th.
Yeah, about a month after this episode hits the public feed. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm very excited. I haven't read tons about it because I do want to go in, relatively fresh.
Yeah.
But I'm cautiously psyched for the changes they're going to make. Instead of it being this very long campaign, it is closer to a medium roguelike structure where like a campaign is 5 hours.
Yeah.
And you do a complete campaign in that much time.
Yeah. Just completely changing the metagame.
Yeah. I'm very curious as to it. To me, Darkest Dungeon 1 is still around. Like, it's not gonna, I don't feel like I'm losing very much. I didn't really want like just another, like a kit with new classes and stuff.
Yeah. I've
Largely
read,
because of, go ahead.
I've read very little about it, but like they specifically designed it. Like, we want this to be a sequel that doesn't make the original obsolete. We want people to, continue playing both.
Yeah. And there's if you were looking for more content like I am in this game, the mod community is incredible.
Yeah.
You have to dig through some horny mods because it's video
how can
games.
people make horny mods?
I have given up trying to figure that out. Like, every time I read about a game now, I'm like, oh, people ship these two characters, huh? That's real fucking weird. And I just decided that I have to just reject it and not think about it.
I mean, there's a brothel in the game, but I don't know.
It's one of the least sexy brothels there is.
Yeah.
Like it's a, and the idea of like, oh, like Darkest Dungeon real fun, but what if I had an anime titty wench on my team that I get a little something for daddy, a little eye candy, that'd make it better. I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Like, I want to play Darkest Dungeon. I love Darkest Dungeon enough to learn it inside and out. I need to be looking at tits or I'm not okay.
You can have porn up on a second monitor.
Just like keep your phone out. I do not get it. But once you wade through that, there are tons of like really interesting classes that do stuff that it feels like the rules were not, the game wasn't designed to do. Like, there are classes that summon allies into the enemy's ranks that sabotage the enemies from within. Things like that. A lot of classes that fuck around with extra turns, which is a mechanic in the game but isn't implemented. And then missions and bosses that are like really incredible, like cool stories that people told with these things. Yeah. There's a full-length one called The Black Reliquary, which I was thinking about doing a Let's Play series of if I want to do a clean Darkest Dungeon install. That sounds really neat. Like, you're on an airship and you go to a totally different area.
Oh.
So very curious about The Black Reliquary.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, I did a little bit of poking around in the files on the PC version, and like, they made it to be extendable. Like, everything is exposed. Most of like the data sheets are the data sheets are in JSON. Like, it seems like they designed it explicitly to be moddable. Yeah.
Which again, is something I really appreciate.
Yeah.
So that is going to be the end of our public facing section of this episode. We're no longer in a naked cube among Times Square. To hear the rest of the episode, it's $5 at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Yeah. And you can not only get this, but the full version of every premium episode we've ever done. That includes, what did we do last month? Not Prey. What was last month, Gary? It was August. Chrono Trigger. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. And also next month in October, we're doing Resident Evil 8. Yeah. Good stuff up in there, and access to whole other shows. Like, if you like Darkest Dungeon, you may enjoy Unfilmable. The first kind of run of that was about explicitly about Lovecraftian movies, like bringing Lovecraft stories and Lovecraft style stories to the screen. And now it's just a general horror movie podcast. And that is available to you at the same tier where you get the full versions of the premium episodes of WoW.
I think it is a really good way to spend $5 a month.
Yes.
I'm biased, but if I were just a consumer,
yes,
I think that's a really good value.
Yeah.
So, and until next time, take care.
Take care.
I appreciate you.
Bye.